Hi and welcome back to my channel. This is part two of the bus tour. So it's narrated by our tour guide who is a local to Havana, and you're going to see a lot of the local sites. If you don't see the site that you want to see in this video, definitely hop over to my other video. It's going to be just us driving around the tour bus. If you want to see a video of us actually walking around in Havana and going to the different sites ourselves, then you will hop over to my channel and check out one of the other tour videos, but not the bus tour, because the bus tour is just us on the bus, narrated by our local guide. Thanks for watching.
So the area is 2 square miles in front of the cruise ship terminal. Is the area that we consider that we call Old Havana. Because it's the area who was built by the Spaniards. So then we began to move into the area that I call the Republic area, because the city was built from the 1900 until 1959, which one is considered the second period in our history. Sorry, but after 59 is not many things that I can show you. So after 59, our country started in a transformation, so I started to achieve a new economical and political system. And this is the third period in our life, and that is where we have nowadays something called socialism. So you can see from during all our day a bunch of beautiful old cars. Friends, that is a long history why we have all of those cars here in Havana. Imagine that in 1959 in Cuba we had 180,000 cars. We was the 6th country in the world to get average car per person. In Cuba, to mention some interesting things, we have more Cadillac per person than in United States. Oh. Yes, it's true, it's not a joke. So, and well, we're gonna have time to learn about the history of those car, friends. I'm 36 years old, but 10 years ago, no, not 10. The time is running, friends. In 2012, I was one of the first drivers of classic car. Imagine that in 1929, we already has this amazing building, the Capitol building of Havana. So we started by the Spanish embassy, and you saw the former presidential palace, and 1912 the former presidential, and this is 1929. What means? The Capitol was built for the Cuban Congress, so all of the government, all of the City Hall was in this area. Also, the Capitol building is the 0 kilometers. Every distance in Cuba is started from the Capitol building. In Cuba, you're gonna see on the street signs. We use the metric system, kilometers per hour, or kilometers. Kilograms. So that's what is one of the big issues that we had in Cuba in 1959 related with the cars, because we stopped the relation. So one time that was signed an embargo, so one time that the Soviet Union want to bring into the country nuclear rockets. That is a moment that most of the people for all over the world, so it doesn't matter if you're living in US, Canada, so it's a moment, 1962, that was a very, very hard moment. Once time that the Soviet Union want to bring in Cuba nuclear head, they already bring in the launches rockets, but once time that they want to bring the nuclear head, the US started economical embargo, and was a moment when every relation with US stopped. Imagine that we have 180,000 cars, and wasn't impossible to afford to get any more spare part, and all of the spare part that was on stock, they began to use it, and in the first 2-3 years everything was gone, and the people keep running the cars. But what happened? Cuba started a friendship with Soviet Union, with Europe, and Cuba began to import the spare part from this side of the world. But what happened? Those cars, they use metric system, and all of the cars that we already have in the country, they use the England system, and impossible to fit in all of those screws on top. But Cuba, we did. We began to adapt the metric system into the England system. Well, friends, look on the right, a bustling member of Abraham Lincoln. Really? Why Abraham Lincoln over there? All of this green park that you're seeing is called Friendship or Fraternity Park. Was designed and inaugurated early 1900s in order to celebrate the 400th anniversary of discovering America or colonizer America. And in each corner are different buses for most of the important personalities in Latin America. And as well in the center, you can see this tree is a very common tree in our fields. It's called ceiba or kapok, and it's a tree related with religion in Cuba nowadays. And also in these trees they have earth of every country in America. When I mention America, it's from Canada to Argentina. So in English speaking, it's quite common mention America just focusing to United States, but America is whole the continent. Well, friends, what a visit this area, right? Why? This is one of the I can call switch point, because all of the city buses ended their trip in this point. We are in Havana Central municipality. Like I mentioned, our population is 12 million of citizens. Well, I'm sorry, 11. Not really, it's a big Cuban population living in North America, mainly in Florida. But it's not only after 59. Before, the first community that began to live in North America, mainly in Tampa, was Cuban cigar rollers. And all of those Cuban cigar rollers, they helped the Cubans in order to achieve the independence from Spain. Because many Americans companies, they started to invest, they started to buy the cigar leaf, but they needed somebody that know how to roll cigars. And they bring Cubans, started to having a community in this part of Florida, and then on the 20s, 30s, with the prohibition, something happened. Every American began to visit Cuba, included Meyer Lansky, Lucky Luciano, those big guys. They started to invest into the gambling, into tourism. And after that, coming 59, when many Cubans as well want to come back to United States. So then we're gonna have time to learn about all of those things. So well, this is a Havana Center, which one is the entry of many city buses, and this parking lot on the right, you're seeing that a few cars is not too bright like the another one that we saw. Most of those cars are like a station wagon, and they use as a taxis. But in Cuba, how run those taxis? We call collective taxis, because those cars, they ride from the point A, like from this place to another municipality, and the people share the cab inside. So if somebody in this trip, they need to go hop off because they needed to visit in one place, the driver pick up another person. But this person should ask the driver which one is his road, because they have a fixed road. Is in Cuba nowadays, one of the popular apps in order to hire taxis, Uber, work very easy. Just you go to the street and every Cuban car is a taxi. You don't need to use any device. But if you're gonna hire a taxi, you need to arrange the price before to hire the taxi. Doesn't matter if it's a yellow one, it's official. In Cuba, taximeters do not work. So you must ask to the driver how much is and getting clear. It's advertising, and the price is per car, not per person. The same, I'm gonna let you know what will happen if you want to ride a classic car after that. So gonna be really nice. So well, we are driving by one of the interesting streets that we call Reina, or the underground market street. Underground market, you're gonna say what happened. Yes, friends, Cuba nowadays is one island that we run a different economical and political system, where most of the companies are stay on, and that means that the Cuban citizen cannot represent any enterprise. So, but nowadays is able to open some smallest business. As entrepreneurs, people can open a cafeteria, restaurants, but only this kind of service. Any Cuban citizenship can import stuff as a commercial use. But we are human beings. and every person started trade. Trade is one of the longest business in the human life. So many Cubans who achieve a Spanish passport are easier to travel, because one side that you are Spanish citizenship, you can have Schengen visa, and as well you can travel to US or Mexico, different countries, and those persons, they import different stuff as a personal use. They know the Cuban customers regulation, and they bring the enough quantity which one is considered personal use, but the people need to find a place to sell it. And in this street is where people used to have in a underground market. Everything that people needed to buy in Cuba is the biggest mall, this street that we already passed. So really my city, friends, Havana, is quite interesting the way that we can appreciate the different period in our history. We started in the old town. Really, the old Havana is this area where I'm gonna invite you that you can walk into the afternoon. So really is very interesting architecture and life. The old Havana, they have different squares where you can have a coffee, and it's a great place to walk at the afternoon. And we no, really, I am so lucky. I am so lucky nowadays that 2 months ago, 3G connection became to work in Cuba. For me, it was like you can imagine, friends, young guy with 36 years old. The first day I have 3G in my phone, say, what the hell is this? I was like like a kid with a new toys. But myself as a tour guide, some moment I needed to doing my research, I needed to having something, and with internet on the phone it's quite easier. Just found answers for many of the even numbers, statistics that sometimes I don't have it in my mind, and people ask me about Cuba, and I get it the way well. Before we use Wi-Fi connection, that is still, but I should go to a park, and some days I needed to just wait in the afternoon, checking in the Wi-Fi connection. Now it's expensive, but it's able to use. So I'm studying mechanical engineering, but I never work as a mechanical engineer. I am tourism engineer. I fix the tours. Yes, I am on the field. I am on the daily routine. And sometimes the companies, they give me a program, and I check the program and say, nah, that is not what I'm gonna do. At the end, I know what is easier, where the people like it, because I'm looking your face. Really, friends, it's impossible that learn your names, but I am familiar with your face. And at the end of the tour, I'm gonna forget you. No, so far I'm gonna see if you are my best tour, my best guy. So well, no, what happened? I'm fixing the tour because I need to keep the pacing. I need to know what time we need to arrive to the place. So, and I'm speaking English because I was quite lucky. Early, when I was in a third grade of elementary school, I don't know how, I received my first English lesson in Cuba in the regular educational program. My elementary school was used as a new program, and they began to teach English again. And when you're a kid, you receive some lesson of a foreign language, you keep it in your mind. I hate English them at junior high school. We call secondary school and high school. But then when I'm studying the university, my mom swapped her house. That is another thing that we're gonna talk about. So I born in the outskirts of the city, and my mom sold her house, and I began to live in this area of downtown. And my mom, in 2003, she was one of the first Cubans who has a license into our home to rent rooms for foreign people, like a bed and breakfast business. And at the same time, I began to receive people from all over the world, and I need to make some money. Yeah. Imagine a young guy with 21 years old receiving tourists in your home, and began to show the people where they need to do, which place, and began to hanging out, to go to different places. And this window of the languages that I received when I was kid began to appear in my mind, and began to speak like sometimes people like you. Well, in some moment you need to shut up my mouth. Just let me know. well, friends. Well, now we are passing. That is, in a few words, my lovely history. And then I decided to begin to run as a. I'm moving into the tourism industry. Well, on the left. Well, first moment that I mentioned left. On the left, the facility, the main building of Havana University, which one is a construction from early 1900s. It's one of the first construction in this part of the city, because now we are arriving in the modern part of Havana. Nowadays in Havana, as the capital of the country, we have a few universities. It's divided by careers. In this university, they have history, math, physics, philosophy, lawyer, not liar, lawyer, biology, and we have another university in the outskirts of the city, which one is the university for the different engineerings. And in another area we have university for medicine careers, like nurses and doctors. This university, they have a big history related with the Cuban Revolution, which one is a period late 1950s when one person make a coup. Really, that is a moment that Cuba began to be one of the richest island on the Caribbean. So imagine that since the 20s, so tourism began to be big. The cruise ship terminal was built in the 30s. Imagine how big it is that now they have a room for all of the cruise ship. But well, related with the map, with Lanky and Luciano, one person called Batista, in 1952 he made a coup and he broke all of the democracy. In 1900, when we began to run as a republic, we adopted a very close economical and political system than North America. So president could be reelected in 2 terms. And in 1952, this guy, he made a coup because the map needs somebody that represent on the government, and that is the reason why he started the revolution. And really, the Cuban Revolution started from this university.
We did book our excursion through Royal Caribbean, but if you wanted to book it separate, this is the company we were using. Like, this is the feedback survey, so it has all their information on it. Very good.
Doesn't matter which language,
highly recommend.
only you need